On day 1, I spawned in the middle of a shrine. Wow, I'm baby Elemental Herobrine. As Herobrine, I can control people's minds and fly. Maybe with these new elements, I can cause even more chaos. I went off in search of the nearest kingdom. I have come to destroy your homes and... Wait a minute. I looked around and noticed that the kingdom has already been destroyed. Who did this? I saw villagers running away terrified. There's nowhere to run from Herobrine. Fear me. The villager just ran past me, cowering in fear. Who's a bigger threat than me? Suddenly, thunder could be heard, and a warlock appeared.
That's right. Run from the great Alistair, soon to be the world's strongest villain.
Strongest villain? I was really angry and accidentally shot a fireball at him with my elemental powers. I guess I don't have full control over them yet.
So, it's true. Elemental Herobrine exists. Yet another villain to destroy.
You think you can take me down? I'll use these new elements to show you who the strongest villain really is. He immediately blasted me with a beam of energy. Oh, I barely had any hearts left. I felt so weak and I can barely move.
I will take you back to my castle where I can kill you slowly.
On day 2, I was taken back to a castle on top of a mountain. I was escorted to an operation room of some kind. Suddenly, I heard a loud roar and smashing noises and saw a monstrous beast. It was trapped inside of some kind of machine and was trying to get out.
I shall kill all the villains of this world. With no competition, I will finally be the strongest.
This guy is insane. Alistair then turned on the machine and it instantly killed the monster.
Now you're next, Elemental Herobrine.
Oh no, I gotta get out of here. Out of my panic, I suddenly can feel a surge of power within me. I let out a huge elemental lightning blast, creating an opening in the wall. I flew out of the hole and made a break for it.
I will find you, Elemental Herobrine.
On day 3, I flew a great distance and felt like I was far from Alistair's castle. Suddenly, though, I felt weak. Oh no, I can't fly anymore. I crash landed into a house and I was so weak. I decided to collect the wood from the house. I was able to make myself a crafting table and from it a set of wooden tools. I looked and noticed that it also had a farm. Time to get some food. I'm starving. I quickly collected the food and made some bread. All of a sudden, a villager from inside came yelling at me. You monster! You destroyed my home, you idiot! I grew frustrated and suddenly something happened. His eyes were glowing. Mind control. Perfect. I commanded the villager to give me whatever resources he had on him. He then threw me a stack of cobblestone and a lot of quartz, as well as other building blocks. I took the cobblestone and used it to upgrade to stone tools. Thank you, servant. The servant then stopped being controlled and began to run out of fear. My regular Herobrine powers were nowhere near as powerful as these elemental ones. I should figure out why all of this is happening. I headed out to find out more about my elemental powers. On day 4, I ended up finding an old destroyed temple. I'm probably gonna need a place to stay, and I think this place serves me just right. Suddenly, a bunch of demons popped up in front of me. They all charged at me and started to attack. What are these things? I then shot them with fireballs, but it barely did any damage. I pulled out my stone sword and started to fight them the old-fashioned way. I was able to then take them all out. Suddenly, I grew into a full-size Herobrine. Sweet! I'm getting stronger. I even gained 5 more hearts. Well, now that those idiots are gone, I think I'll make this place my new home. I used the resources that the villager gave me and repaired some of the temple for myself. While I was repairing the damages, I noticed that there was a pillar in the middle. Interesting. I stepped on the pillar and something happened. I suddenly awoke and was somewhere else. Am I dreaming? There was a strange figure there, but I couldn't make out who it was. She said that she was the elemental being and that this was a vision.
I have given you 4 elements to defeat Alistair and stop his reign of tyranny: fire, ice, wind, and lightning.
Why would you choose me out of all people? You know that I'm a bad guy, right?
I know you all too well, Herobrine, but Alistair is a whole different kind of evil, one that will change this reality for eternity.
She told me that only I could stop Alistair. It was time to fight evil with evil.
Master all 4 of your elements to fully control them. Good luck, Herobrine.
Suddenly, I woke up and I was back in the house. Time to go to sleep and rest up before I go out and master my fire element. On day 6, I decided to try and learn my fire element. Come on, go! I would try to use it on command, but nothing worked. This is so frustrating. Fire would just shoot out randomly. Anyway, time to take my mind off of left this. I should probably further upgrade my home. It was still very destroyed, and I knew in order to defeat a villain, I had to live like a super one. I went out and got the necessary resources, but every time I would place a block down, I accidentally shot more fire out of my hands and destroyed it down. These elements are so frustrating. I can't control them at all. I decided to turn my attention to a farm. This bread I got won't last me forever. I started to place the foundation down and then my crops. But again, I shot fire and it burned all of them down. I can't even eat now. Suddenly, a strange person appeared out of nowhere.
Come here, you idiot. You obviously need my help.
Need your help? What are you talking about? Before I can say anything else, though, the strange man summoned up a small fire arena right in front of my base.
It's time to train.
We were inside a small arena, about to start my training? I'm guessing you have to do with my fire element.
Great. Why did you have to choose this arrogant, weak villain, elemental being?
Weak villain? Who even are you? The man introduced himself as Cyrus and said he was one of the elementals who served the elemental being.
The elemental being is supposed to choose one to wield all the 4 elements, and the chosen one is supposed to be a hero.
Well, I have no interest in being a hero. I only want to get rid of that warlock and reclaim my title as the best villain.
Figured that would be the case.
He told me that he wanted me to fight him. Cyrus said the rules were simple. A battle for strengths. No powers allowed. If I beat him, he would help me control my fire element. Piece of cake. You're on. I immediately charge at him and try to punch him. Cyrus didn't move at all and sent me flying. This guy is pretty tough. Cyrus came charging at me and I knew I had to do something. I used my mind control on him to stop him for a second. I took the opportunity to knock him on the ground. There, I win.
You cheated.
With what proof? A deal's a deal, Cyrus. He wasn't happy, but he agreed and gave me a fire chest plate. Cyrus told me that this armored plate would give me full access to my fire abilities. I put it on and felt way stronger. Perfect. I was able to shoot out fire abilities at full strength now. Pleasure doing business with you. On day 8, I decided to fly out and explore. Now that I have full access to my fire abilities, why don't I give them a test drive? As I was flying, I spotted a village and thought they would be the perfect test subjects. I flew over and started burning the villagers' houses to the ground. The villagers began to run out of their houses and leave. That's right, you worms. Run! Run and flee from the great Herobrine. I could feel the villagers' fear in the atmosphere. This is exactly what I came here for. I noticed that a few of them weren't running away. I flew down to them and asked why they weren't leaving.
You think you're so scary. You're nothing compared to Alistar.
I'm nothing?
Yeah, burning villages is weak. I saw the warlock turn a villager into a crater.
Great. Looks like I'm not as fearsome as I thought I was. I shot a fireball at the villager and forced him to run away. I flew out of the burning village and continued on my journey back to base. If I master my other elements, who knows what I'll be capable of. On day 9, I was on my way home when I suddenly could hear a loud caw nearby. What is going on?
Back off, you jerks! I'll peck your eyes out!
I found a chicken that was being attacked by a pack of wolves and used my fire abilities to scare them off.
Yeah, that's right. You better run and fear me!
What the heck are you doing? You're gonna get yourself killed.
Yeah, and people need to know that I'm more than just a stupid chicken.
Listen, you are a chicken. Chickens aren't meant to be scary.
Coming from you? Look at you. All you're doing is trying to prove your worth. Why can't I do the same, eh?
That's enough. I brought the chicken back to our base. He kind of reminded me of myself. This place is kind of a mess. How about we clean it up some more? Stuart agreed, and he cleaned around the base while I left to gather more resources. I returned and used the wood I collected to build a nice little home next to mine. There. Now we both have a nice house. Suddenly, explosions could be heard outside, and it startled Stuart. Great. That can't be good. On day 10, I flew out of base and spotted that lousy warlock, Alistar. He destroyed a town and was putting people in cages.
That's right. Step right in if you want to live.
You know, if you take all these people, there's not going to be anyone left to fear you. The warlock turned around and spotted me.
I don't care. All I want is to prove that I'm strong enough, with or without an audience.
The warlock told me that long ago, certain people never believed that he was strong and fearsome. They never really saw him living up to his full potential.
But now that I've done all of this, I will prove them wrong.
Who cares about your sob story? It's time to die. I charged at the warlock and knocked him to the ground. While he was down, I used my new fire abilities on him, covering him in fire. Alistar walked out of the flames and hit me with a beam of energy. I crash into the ground. That single hit took 5 of my hearts away. I looked at the villagers in the cages and broke them free. Get out of here, you insects! You're in my way. The villagers ran out of the cage and left the town. That only made Alistar angry, and he hit me with a spell that made me extremely weak. Oh, this isn't good. I needed to escape, but the warlock was getting closer. I used the last of my energy to fly out fast.
Hide all you like. I will find you.
I ended up landing at the top of a snowy mountain. Phew, that was close.
You fool! Are you trying to get yourself killed?
I turned around and the elemental being was floating above me. She told me that in my current state, I stood no chance of defeating that warlock.
Alistar is far more powerful and thoughtful than you are.
Thoughtful? Listen, all I care about is defeating this guy to show the world who the stronger villain is. The elemental being was upset and said that she already told me how to do that. Yeah. Master the rest of the elements and become the champion of the world. I don't mind mastering the elements, but I would rather be a feared villain. Suddenly, the mountain started to shake, and I could tell that the elemental being was mad.
Just get a move on it. Go get some upgrades and make your way towards the ice temple.
She vanished. I wondered what the elemental being meant when she called Alistar thoughtful. Does she personally know him? And if so, why wouldn't she tell me? On days 13 to 14, as I reached the base, I saw a group of villagers waiting for me. The heck are you guys doing here? They wanted to thank me for rescuing them from Alistar.
You are our hero!
Hero? I'm not a hero. The villagers didn't listen though, and just kept cheering for me. Get out of here before I make you regret it.
He is the greatest! I love him!
I blasted one of the villagers and turned him into a chicken. You asked for it. The villagers started freaking out and ran away from the base. That's right. You better run away.
No! Wait! Please! Don't forget about me!
Their fear began to give me more strength. I think I should probably wear some armor as well. I decided to go into the nearest cave and mine for some iron. After that, I was able to make an iron helmet and leggings. This will for sure come in handy. I ventured out of the base and headed for the ice temple. While I was flying towards it, I sensed danger and narrowly dodged an arrow. Hey, who shot at me? I looked down and saw an armored warrior off in the distance. He kept shooting at me with his arrows, and I landed on the ground. Could you just quit it already? The warrior charged at me and tried to attack me with his diamond sword. What is your deal, man? He continued to swing his sword at me, so I responded by hitting him with a fireball. Who are you?
That doesn't matter. The world doesn't need any more villains like you. I'll get rid of all you monsters, including Alistair, the worst of them all.
He fired more arrows at me, and I teleported behind him. I tried to freeze him in place, but he easily broke out of it.
Ha! Your powers won't harm me, thanks to this armor.
The warrior swung his sword at me again, and I dodged it. This is so annoying. The warrior started charging at me, and I can feel more of my original powers returning. I used my powers to open a giant hole the moment the warrior got close to me. Have a nice trip, idiot. That takes care of him. Now, back to finding that ice temple. On days 17 to 18, I finally made it to the ice temple. This won't be my favorite vacation destination, but I guess it's kind of cool. I navigated my way inside, where I discovered the ice elemental waiting for me.
I've been waiting to train you. Great.
What? Were you expecting some knight in shining armor? He introduced himself as Soul's Mask, and he thought it was funny that I showed up. What's so funny?
Out of all people, the elemental being has chosen a desperate villain to save the world.
First off, I'm not desperate. Secondly, I'm gonna use those ice powers to become the greatest villain the world has ever known.
We will see about that.
Soul's Mask started summoning his forces, and they all began to attack me. His henchmen then tried to surround me, but I shot fireballs at them and turned them into ash. I used my stone sword to take down the rest of the henchmen and charged at Soul's Mask. He then froze me in place with a beam of ice. Thanks to my fire upgrades, I easily melted them off. He tried to shoot me with another beam of ice, but I teleported behind him and took him down with a fireball. It's over. Time to help me get rid of Alistar.
Act tough all you want. Deep down, you know that warlock is more evil than you.
Soul's Mask then threw down an ice helmet. I equipped it and left the temple. After making it down the mountain, I pondered where I can go to test my enhanced ice powers. I've got it. I know the perfect place to test this baby out. I ventured out and found a broken down nether portal. I quickly repaired it, and once I was inside, I flew to the nether. Let's see how strong these ice powers are. I blasted the ground with an ice beam and began to turn the nether into an icy tundra. Piglins started running out of their homes, scared and confused about what was going on.
Who would be so evil to do this?
The fear around the nether started fueling my body, and I gained 5 more hearts from it. Perfect. The world will learn the name of Herobrine very soon. I then left the nether and made my way back to the overworld. I should head back to base and check on that chicken. Hopefully, he hasn't gotten himself into trouble.
I don't think so.
Suddenly, a beam of energy sent me crashing into the ground. Ow, who did that? I turned around, and Alistor was there, floating above me.
Out of all people, you were the one chosen to wield these elements?
The warlock was clearly angry that the elemental being chose us as her elemental warrior. How do you two even know each other, huh?
This doesn't concern you. I'll just get rid of you and all the elements. That should show her what happens when you interfere with my actions.
Bring it on! I've been meaning for a rematch anyway. I shot Alistor with a fireball and then tried to strike him down with my stone sword, but it was no good. I'm still not strong enough to hurt him. I knocked Alistor to the ground and froze him in place with my enhanced ice powers. This is such a pain, but I needed to get out of here. I flew up into the sky and made my way back to base. On days 21 to 23, I went inside my base and found a small farm was added to it.
I thought you might get hungry on your ventures, so I made this for you.
Thanks. Now, I don't have to think about eating you from time to time.
What?
Since Stuart wanted to add more stuff to the base, I decided to add stuff too. Using the rest of the wood I'd collected, I started building a wall around it. After that, I went over to Stuart's house and told him about my progress with the elements. I told him that I was getting closer to mastering them. Alistor's days are numbered once I do.
Well, you can't beat Alistair without some kind of protection, as you are now a walking target.
I hated to admit it, but the chicken was right. If I wanted to withstand Alistor's attacks, I needed to be fully armored. I ventured out of the base and eventually came across a cave nearby. The cave was full of iron. Using my iron pickaxe, I was able to find some diamonds and use it to replace my iron armor with diamond armor. Nice. This should keep me safe for now. I teleported back to base and decided to take a nap for the day.
Herobrine, Herobrine, Herobrine!
I woke up and found myself back in the elemental being's temple. I was sleeping. The elemental being didn't care and asked me how Soul's Mask was doing. Well, about that, he's definitely going to have to retire after how bad I hurt him. On the bright side, I've mastered my ice elements.
That wasn't necessary, but whatever it takes to defeat Alistor.
Speaking of Alistor, what's the deal with you and that warlock? It seems like you both know each other. The elemental being told me that long time ago, Alistor wanted to be the one that was chosen to harness the elemental powers.
Alistor wanted his powers. He thought he was capable of holding them, but I thought otherwise. I refused and was heartbroken. He didn't like this and decided to go on a rampage.
Wait a minute, heartbroken?
Anyways, here's the location for the Wind Temple, where you will meet my servant, Goro.
The elemental being gave me a warning that things are going to be much harder now that Alistor knows that I'm looking for the elements. Whatever. If things get harder because of Alistor, then so be it. I'm a supervillain. Difficulty is my specialty.
I know you're more than that, Herobrine. The only one that fails to see that is you.
On days 27 to 29, I made my way out of base and flew toward the Wind Temple. I knew that Alistor had his eyes on me, so I stayed vigilant for him or his goons. Then, out of nowhere, a trident came flying towards me. I was able to dodge it, but felt the blade of my attacker. I turned around, and it was the armored warrior. How in the world are you still alive?
I have my ways.
You've gotta be kidding me. The warrior charged at me with his trident, but I stunned him with a giant fireball. I was more in tune with my abilities, so dealing with this guy was a piece of cake. I continued to set the warrior on fire, but he powered through it and sliced me with his big sword. Why do I feel so weak? What is that sword?
It's something specially made to deal with villains like you.
You're gonna regret that. I used my enhanced ice powers and froze the warrior in place. This bought me enough time to barrage him with fireballs and ice beams until eventually his helmet fell off. Let's see who's under that mask. Steve? Of course it would be you of all people.
I'll make you regret doing that, Herobrine. You haven't seen the last of me.
Steve immediately ran off and left the arena. Now I can focus on my real task, finding the Wind Temple. I arrived at the location of the Wind Temple, but something was wrong. Nothing was there. Where the heck could it be? A gust of of wind blew past me, and I looked up to see that the wind temple was up in the sky. Oh, that makes sense. I flew up there and saw that the temple was on fire. No! Did Alistar get here before me? I flew inside and saw the wind elemental getting attacked by Alistar's henchmen.
Help! Somebody help!
I have to save him. Oh, and I can't afford to lose my wind element either. Pick on someone your own size, you freaks. The henchmen turned their attention to me, and one of them charged. I used my ice powers to freeze him in place. The other henchmen tried to attack me, but I shot a giant fireball to easily beat them.
You saved me? But why?
Don't think too much about it. I, only saved you because I needed your wind element. The wind elemental told me that their name was Koro. Koro thought differently and thanked me for the assistance anyways. I demanded him to give me the wind enhancements as a reward.
As much as I would love to do that, unfortunately, I can't. The Warlock's men raided my temple and took my powers.
Great, so you're useless to me now. Koro told me that he found it weird that the elemental being chose us, considering everything that happened with Alistar. What do you mean by that?
Well, at one point, the Warlock and the Elemental Being used to be together. The Warlock loved her.
Aha! I knew it! Her saying that he was thoughtful, saying that he was heartbroken, it was because they were together. I wonder what else the elemental being is hiding from me. Koro told me that his men who took his powers were at a camp nearby, and I left to go pursue them. On days 33 to 35, I found the demon camp that had Koro's wind enhancements.
Look, I can fly! I can fly!
Those fools were playing around with my wind element? Get your filthy hands off of my wind powers. The demons saw me floating above them and laughed at me.
A weak villain like you doesn't deserve to have this power.
Could a weak villain do this? I shot the flying demon with a huge fireball, and he fell to the ground, burnt to a crisp. The wind enhancement was on the ground, and I went down and acquired it. Ah, yes. You've returned to its rightful owner. The demons were stunned at the sight of their fallen comrade, and I took this opportunity to use my new wind powers to summon wind gusts around the camp. The demons were filled with fear, and all of them ran away. Ha ha ha! Serves you right. Who's the weak villain now? I used my wind powers to destroy the camp and made my way back to base. I flew inside of base, feeling confident. I'm just so strong. Now that I have 3 of the 4 elements, I feel like I'm on top of the world. All I need is lightning, and Alistar is finished.
Hey, you're getting so caught up with these elemental powers that you're starting to forget yourself.
It doesn't matter, chicken. These elements are making me so powerful.
You need to remember that you can still be strong without those elements.
Shut up. You know nothing about me. Stuart seemed upset. Whatever. That didn't matter. Anyways, this base wasn't screaming evil to me at all, so I decided to make some changes about it. I went outside of the base and changed some of the blocks around me to shout more super villain. Now that looks more sinister.
You weak, pathetic minions! Why can't you destroy that weakling of a villain?
Well, sir, he's gotten much stronger after enhancing his elemental powers.
You want to be stronger too? Fine. Now go and deal with Herobrine, for good this time.
On days 39 to 41, I left the base and went to go look for the elemental being. I needed to go and retrieve the lightning element sooner rather than later. I made it up to a hilltop and wondered if this was the place to summon her. I'm at the right place, right? Whoa! I dodged an incoming arrow and spotted Alistar's henchmen. You guys don't learn, do you? The henchman pulled out a wand, and suddenly I started to feel weak. What did you do to me?
Not so tough now without your elements.
I can't be defeated by these fools. What do I do?
You're Herobrine, remember? Use your own powers.
Stuart showed up and must have followed me, but he was right. I am Herobrine. I have my own powers too. My powers started increasing my strength, and I floated above the henchmen. I summoned lightning, and it struck down all around the area.
What are you?
I used the lightning to strike down the henchmen and defeated them. I'm Herobrine, the one and only. Stuart was glad to see that I was all right, and my elements returned to me. Don't expect a thanks from me. Just get home safely. After watching the chicken leave, I could sense the elemental being was nearby. I must be getting close. I found the elemental being's temple and went inside to meet her.
I'm impressed impressed by the progress you've made so far, Herobrine. You're more than ready to acquire the lightning enhancement.
Well, before you tell me that, you've got some explaining to do. Carl told me about your relationship with Alistor.
Koro had no business telling you that. Alistor and I loved each other, but he changed.
It was your fault that I changed, elemental being. Or should I say, Mavis.
Stay back, elemental being. The warlock is mine. I charged at Alistor, but he blasted me away with a beam of energy.
I loved you, Mavis, but you broke my heart. You think that I wasn't enough? Well, all that I'm doing is to show you who I really am, with or without your elements.
Listen, Alistor.
No! Once I reach my full potential, you will regret everything you've done to me.
I got up and tried to rush the warlock, but he grabbed Mavis and teleported out of the temple. Great. Now I gotta go and rescue her too. On days 45 to 47, I returned to base to find Koro, Cyrus, and Soulsmass waiting for me.
You let Alistair take the elemental being? What's wrong with you?
It's not my fault. If she was honest from the beginning, maybe I would have been more prepared.
If the warlock kills Mavis, there'll be terrible repercussions from this. The world will tear itself apart without the elements.
Be quiet, you two. Alistor loves Mavis too much to kill her.
I wouldn't be so sure about that. It's a chance you can't take.
To shut these guys up, I decided to go out and quickly build an elemental house for them to stay in. I walked away from them and ran into Stuart.
They're right, Herobrine. If that warlock kills her, there won't be a world for you to hunt anymore.
I know, but I can't just storm his castle. They'll be expecting me. I'm gonna need some help breaking Mavis out.
Who did you have in mind?
The only person I thought I would never ask, but I've got no choice. I flew over a forest and could sense that his presence was there. I landed inside the forest and walked around to find him. I bet you're wondering who I'm looking for. Steve! I know you're out here. You can quit hiding now. Suddenly, Steve came out of hiding and tried to attack me with his special sword. I easily dodged his attack and froze him in place.
I won't rest until I destroy you and the warlock.
Listen, for once, I'm not here to fight. The elemental being has been captured by the warlock.
Elemental being?
Yeah, she's the one that gave me elemental powers and controls all of the elements of the world. Listen, I don't have time for this. If she dies, who knows what will happen?
I don't believe you.
Suddenly, the world around us started to shake and cracks started to form around us. You were saying? Steve agreed to listen to what I had to say, and I unfroze him. I told him that I needed his help with getting Mavis. If I do, I can stop Alistor from destroying the world. Once we save her and get rid of that warlock, we can have a grand final battle and finish things between us. Deal?
Fine. A truce for now.
I bet you regret the way you treated me now. How ironic is this? You wouldn't grant me the elements because you thought I was too dangerous. But instead you chose Herobrine?
I'm sorry, Alistor. Listen, it's not too late to stop all of this.
It is too late, Mavis, and you will regret hurting me. Once you're gone, who knows how powerful I'll become.
On days 51 to 53, Steve and I finally reached Alistor's base. The elemental being must be somewhere inside. Oh no, she's in trouble. We need to hurry. The two of us rush inside of the prison to find the elemental being was trapped inside of a special cage. There were different colored lights around it that kept us from touching it.
You're running out of time. Alistor is trying to destroy me and remove the elements from the world.
Suddenly, Alistor's henchmen showed up and surrounded us.
It's Herobrine and Steve! Get them!
The demons rushed at us, and Steve started mowing them down with his sword. I used my wind powers to throw them away.
I'll handle the guards. You take care of those beacons.
Don't order me around, but fine. I went over to the beacons and started destroying them with my fire powers. Once I destroyed the last beacon, there was a large flash of light that covered the entire prison. Ow, my head. I wasn't expecting that to happen. My vision came back to me and I could see that Alistor was inside the prison and he didn't look too happy.
You fool! How dare you free my Mavis from her prison?
She doesn't belong to you, you whack job. You were gonna kill her. Now, if you'll excuse us, I have an element to collect.
You all aren't going anywhere.
Come on, Steve. Let's take care of this loser.
Sorry, but he's not my problem.
What? Steve! That jerk escaped the tower and left us. Coward. I struck Alistor with my lightning, but it didn't deal any damage. Jeez, what is this guy made of? Alistor blasted me with a huge beam of energy, and it took 10 of my hearts away. Ouch, this dude is still too strong for me. Mavis stepped in front of me and blocked one of the warlock's beams.
We need to get out of here. You're still not ready to face him.
Mavis grabbed me, and we teleported out of the prison.
No!
On days 57 to 59, Mavis and I ended up in a garden far away from Alistar's base.
Thank you for rescuing me, Herobrine.
No, I don't want to hear anything out of you right now. You lied to me.
I did not lie to you. I only told you what you needed to hear. And why are you so upset? You're a villain. Shouldn't villains be used to lies?
Well, I'd rather be a villain than a liar to the person who's cleaning up your mess. I told Mavis that I don't care about her feelings for Alistar. The Warlock needed to be stopped. Once I acquire the lightning element, Alistar won't stand a chance against me. Then, I will become the most powerful supervillain in Minecraft. Now, give me the location of the lightning temple. The sooner I enhance the lightning element, the sooner I can get rid of Alistar once and for all. Mavis tossed me a map that would lead me to the lightning temple.
Zyran will be the person who will help you with this task.
Good. Why don't you stay here and think about your former lover? I floated up in the sky and flew off toward my base. I returned to the base, and when I arrived, I saw that the farm was larger.
Yeah, apparently chickens and elementals get along great. We made this farm together.
At least he's somewhat useful. I then talked to Stuart about Mavis lying to me.
Don't think about it too much, Herobrine. You'll still get to take down Alistair regardless.
Yeah, but am I doing it for my sake or for hers?
Herobrine, you were chosen by the elemental being because you're the greatest villain to have ever lived.
The chicken told me that I was the only one who could stop Alistar and show him who the real villain was.
And for that, I find it truly inspiring. I look up to you a lot. One day, I hope I'm just as scary.
That reminded me, I still needed to upgrade my fear levels, and I think I know just how to do it. Stuart looked confused, and I told him that I needed his help if I wanted this to work. It's time to get more people to fear us.
Did you say us?
On days 63 to 65, Stuart and I arrived at a nearby kingdom and we're floating over it.
What am I gonna do, Herobrine?
You're gonna help me get all these people to fear the name of Herobrine once again.
Oh my god, I'm finally gonna be evil. It's happening! It's finally happening!
I used my original powers to possess Stuart and gave him some of my powers. Stuart began to fly around the kingdom and started shooting lightning around the area, destroying all of it.
Oh yeah! Run! Run, you insects! And fear the might of Herobrine!
It's a possessed chicken!
The villagers started running around the kingdom, afraid of Stuart and his new powers. Perfect! Their fear made me so much stronger. I even gained 5 more hearts.
This is the best moment of my life! Did I do good, Herobrine?
You did great, Stuart. Now finish destroying this kingdom and then return to base. I have a lightning temple to go to. Stuart continued causing chaos around the kingdom while I made my way towards the temple. I arrived at the lightning temple and it was surrounded by bolts of lightning. I dodged them and entered the temple to find Zyran, the lightning element, waiting for me.
Ah, yes. You must be the so-called Herobrine the elemental being mentioned to me.
You got that right, pal. And you must know why I'm here.
Of course. You're here for the lightning enhancement. It's over there in the middle of the temple, but be warned. You don't choose the lightning enhancement. The lightning enhancement chooses you.
I didn't know what that meant, but who cares? It was time to upgrade my lightning element. The enhancement was sitting there in the middle of the temple, and the moment I touched it, I got struck by lightning. Ouch! I tried to acquire the enhancement again, and I was bombarded with lightning. You're gonna obey me whether you like it or not. Zyran then ran up towards me and stopped me.
Ask yourself, why do you do what you do?
Because I'm a villain? I am evil.
Is it because you are evil, or because being a villain grants you the attention that you very much desire?
What are you talking about? Zyran went on to explain that all villains become who they are by wanting something. Once I can come to terms with my desires, I can gain this new element.
Don't be afraid, Herobrine. Accept it.
Suddenly, the lightning stopped, and I finally acquired the enhancement. I was finally able to fully use lightning at will.
Congratulations! You've now mastered all 4 elements. But if you really want to stop Alistair, you're going to need more than just the elements.
What do you mean by that? Zyran gave me a map and told me that a blacksmith could forge a special sword to defeat Alistar.
All that's left now is that pain in my side. Herobrine. Once I kill him, I'll be the last villain that remains.
On days 69 to 71, I was flying towards the blacksmith's forge when I sensed Steve at a coliseum.
Herobrine, come face me, you fool!
I landed in front of him and asked what he wanted. You finally done running away like a little baby?
Herobrine, Alistair has killed all of the villains except for you.
Great. Less competition.
I know that if he kills you, he will become unstoppable, and I cannot let that happen. So I'm gonna kill you myself.
You know what? It's time I got rid of you once and for all. Steve charged at me and sliced me with a special sword. I didn't take any damage, and Steve was shocked. Now that I've mastered all the elements, your sword can't hurt me. I used my new lightning powers and shot Steve with multiple lightning bolts. This sent him flying and greatly weakened him. I told you that I'd give you a grand finale fight. I just didn't say who would win.
You monster.
I used my mind control powers to stop Steve from moving. Then I finally defeated him with a fireball. The crowd was shocked to see that I won. The show's over, people. I summoned lightning around the Coliseum and forced the villagers to run away in fear. Looks like I've still got it. I flew out of the Coliseum and continued my venture toward the forge. I made it to the ancient blacksmith's forge and went inside. The place was completely empty. Hello? Is anyone here?
What do you want? The shop's closed.
Ah! I turn around and the ancient blacksmith was right there behind me. Man, I could have killed you. Don't scare me like that. He introduced himself as Momar, and I asked him for his help in crafting a weapon that could defeat Alistor.
No, I can't make another weapon of mass destruction. I've retired.
This weapon won't be used for destruction, but used to free the world of Alistor's control. Come on, you've got to help me. Momar was hesitant at first, but finally gave in and agreed to craft me a weapon to defeat the warlock.
Go to a cave nearby and mine some gold and diamond. I need them to craft your weapon to get rid of that warlock.
On days 75 to 77, I made my way inside of the cave and found it full of diamonds and gold. I used my iron pickaxe and began mining as much gold and diamond that I could collect. Suddenly, Mavis teleported in front of me. What do you want, elemental being?
I know that you're trying to find a way to kill Alistor. After seeing how much I hurt him, we should reconsider.
What do you want me to do then? Talk it out?
Actually, that's exactly what I want you to do.
Seriously? After everything he's done to you and this world, you want me to talk it out with him? What was the point of even summoning me then? Mavis told me that Alistor was truly evil, but misguided.
Please, Herobrine, just give it a chance.
Fine. But if he refuses to surrender, then all bets are off the table. Mavis thanked me and teleported out of the cave. I then continued to mine some more gold and diamonds and went back over to Momar's forge. I went inside and gave him all the gold and diamonds that I had collected. Momar thanked me for all my hard work and got to work crafting me my new weapon. A couple days passed and Momar was finally finished crafting it.
It's finally finished. My greatest masterpiece, the Sword of Endings.
It was beautiful. With that sword, I could probably slice Alistor into pieces. That sword would make me an unstoppable villain. I reached for the sword, but Momar was hesitant to give it to me.
Promise me you'll use this sword for good. Use it for the sake of others.
I promise. I'll use the sword to do good, not evil at all. Maybe a little bit. Momar dropped the sword, and I could feel the power swelling within it. Thank you. I promise that I'll stop Alistor. I flew out of the forge and headed back to my base. Fool! I'm gonna use this sword for the good of myself and the sake of villainy. No hard feelings, Momar. On days 81 to 85, I made it back to my base to find it completely destroyed. Oh no, what happened here? I ran inside and started looking for Stuart, but I couldn't find him anywhere. Stuart! Stuart! Oh, where could that chicken be?
Hello, Herobrine.
I turned around and saw Alistor holding Stuart hostage. What are you doing here?
You didn't think I would find you, did you? Now it's time for you and this chicken to die.
Wait, the warlock stopped his attack, and I told him that I didn't want to fight. I know that you're angry about what Mavis did to you, but she's sorry, and we could still stop this. Why won't you let Stuart go and return to Mavis? I promise she's willing to make things right. You can be with her, and I can be the world's strongest villain. How does that sound? Alistor thought about my offer for a moment, but already made his decision.
I am beyond stopping at this point. Now, die!
The warlock shot a huge beam of energy at me, but Stuart jumped in the way and took the blast. No! I charged at Alistor and sliced him with my new sword. The warlock was shocked from the damage he took and teleported out of my base.
Herobrine.
No. Stuart, why did you do that, you big idiot? You can't die for me.
You made me realize that anyone can follow their dreams. Even a chicken. Like me.
Stuart, stay with me. Stay with me. No! Alistor shall die for this. I stormed out of my base and laid a waste around everything that I saw. I used my lightning to strike down everything in my path and shot fireballs burning everything around me. There was a town nearby and it needed to be destroyed. I teleported in the middle of the town and started destroying the entire place. I burned buildings down to the ground and killed villagers with lightning strikes. The villagers started fleeing, but I didn't care. Everyone was going to feel my wrath. A villager stopped running and stared stared at me.
Why? Why are you doing this?
Why? Because I can. I shot a fireball at the villager and instantly fried him. Fear was all around the atmosphere, and I can feel it making me stronger. I even had 10 more hearts. Now, this world will understand true pain and misery. You are next, Alistor. On days 91 and 94, I made my way back to base when I spotted the elemental being nearby. What do you want?
You're tearing the world apart, Herobrine. You need to stop.
And why should I? All this is because you couldn't calm down your boyfriend.
Then focus your attention on Alistor and stop him.
I began to calm down. Stuart's death is on your hands, Mavis. Alistor needs to be stopped once and for all. I decided before I went out, I wanted to give my friend a proper goodbye. We returned to base, and I built a grave for Stuart. I promise, old friend, I'm gonna make Alistor suffer for what he's done to you.
At last, my conquest will finally come to an end. Come, Herobrine, let us finish this fight once and for all.
What's that?
An invitation. It's time that me and Alistor settle things once and for all. I teleported myself in front of Alistor's castle. An army of his henchmen were waiting for me. I flew up into the sky and summoned lightning bolts around the castle, laying waste to it and the henchmen. I shot fireball after fireball at the demons, killing swarms of them with ease. The demons were so shocked by my power that they didn't even know what to do. I landed in front of the army and used my wind powers to blow some of the demons away. A group of demons tried to charge at me, but I used my ice ability to freeze them in place. You guys are making it too easy. I summoned another lightning bolt and destroyed the frozen demons. Using my elemental sword, I charged in and easily killed other demons, one after another.
This cannot be. I'm supposed to be the most powerful villain, not you.
Alistor floated in the sky and flew away from the castle. Where do you think you're going? I was about to fly after him, but Mavis stopped me.
I'm sorry for what happened to Stuart. Go, Herobrine. End this.
I will. I flew off towards Alistor. On day 100, I spotted Alistor in the same kingdom where it all started. You dare think you would ever have been a better villain than Herobrine?
This world isn't big enough for two powerful villains.
Oh, you're a villain, all right, but not a powerful one.
Oh yeah? What's the difference?
Presentation! Lightning then started to shoot across the village. The warlock flew right at me, but I knocked him to the ground with my sword. Alistor cast a spell on me to try and weaken me. It hurt a lot, but I can't give up now. I used my ice powers to freeze the warlock in place. Then I shot him with a giant fireball and a lightning bolt to break him out of the ice.
This can't be happening.
Alistor was very weak, but he kept fighting back.
No!
I used my elemental sword to strike down the final blow to Alistor, killing him in front of the villagers. There is only one villain to fear in this world, and that villain is Herobrine.